Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about Sentinels and their recent win in the AfreecaTV tournament that took place in Korea over this past week. Now, AfreecaTV is an off-season tournament for a lot of Valorant teams. There were a good amount of solid VCT franchise teams that were participating in this tournament, Sentinels being the representative from North America. And they came in hoping for some good results, hoping to, showcase what they can do before the season starts in the VCT for 2024, and they definitely proved themselves that they're, at least right now, a lot better than they were last year. As I said in my news video when I briefly talked about this tournament, I wouldn't put too much stock into off-season results. It is a less stakes environment. There is less money on the line. There is still money on the line. I believe Sentinels won $25,000 from this tournament, but other teams may not be giving their A game, may not be putting 100% of their efforts into it because they don't take it as seriously as the VCT. But at the same time, Sentinels definitely were not thinking that way, and they came in to prove themselves, and I think they did a very good job here. Even after all that I just said there, I do think Sentinels, through this tournament, showed that they should be a much better team and should hopefully be a contender to make it into an international tournament this year. I'm not going to say that they're going to win any. I don't know if I see this team winning a Masters or winning a Champions, but they did take down some impressive opponents in this tournament. Looking at the bracket right down below me, they started off the tournament in the group stage versus Paper X. Now, this is a very tough team to beat. This is a team that went to the grand finals of Champions this year, and they ended up beating them 2-1. It was a very close match. Jane made a surprise return, so they kept their composure after that surprise of, oh God, we're going to play against Jane. And thankfully, they pushed through and they won. Then they went on to face DRX, and they 2-0'd them. Easy sweep from them there. DRX really not showing 100% of what they can do in the tournament. A shaky start for DRX for the offseason, but we'll see how they do during the season. Then we go on to playoffs, which is down below. They face Team Liquid. 2-1 victory, another close one, but they do end up getting the win. And then a rematch against Paper X ended up going in their favor, this time in a sweep. So they played Paper X earlier. It was a close game, some close maps there, and then they played them again in grand finals, and they just, kind of stomp them. For their maps, they were 9-2. They only lost 2 maps for the entire tournament. Very impressive work. And looking at each player's stats on the team, there are some impressive numbers to be had. Starting off with Zekin, who topped the team in kills. He was 197 kills, 167 deaths, 56 assists for a KD ratio of 1.17, and he was playing Raze and Jett. I'm not surprised he's playing Raze and Jett. He did play both of those characters during the 2023 season, and he looked very good in it. Zekin is a guy that can get you a lot of kills. He can frag out. Him being the main duelist over 10s, that's an interesting development. We'll see how it goes. But I do think if they can get 10s working on a different role, then this could be very beneficial because they can make up that difference with Zekin being as talented as he is. Speaking of 10s, moving on to him, he had 183 kills, 168 deaths, 115 assists, a lot of assists for him there, for a KD ratio of 1.08, and he was playing Omen, KO, and Yoru. So only one duelist in those 3 characters that he's played. It's not surprising that it's Yoru. Tens is one of the only players that's really learned how to master Yoru and be very effective on him, but him being able to look impressive on a smoke role as well as an initiator role in KO. I know he's played KO in the past and he's kind of shaky on it, but he did pretty decent here, and he played very well on Omen. So that's definitely a very good sign that maybe Tens is starting to show a bit more versatility and being able to play different roles that aren't just fragging out his Jett. Moving on to Zelsis, he had 164 kills, 151 deaths, 102 assists for a KD ratio, same as Tens as 1.08. And he was playing Viper, Breach, and Brimstone, very typical characters for him right there, playing Smokes and Initiator. I think that's a good fit for him. Zelsis so far looks like he's pretty much locked up that roster spot, but we'll get to that a bit later. John QT coming in and showing off very well as his team's IGL. He had 163 kills, 155 deaths, 61 assists for a KD ratio of 1.05, which is lowest on the team, but he's your IGL. You're not really looking for that. He was playing Viper, Cypher, and Killjoy, so very versatile guy right there. He can play Smokes, and he can play Sentinel. He's a good guy to have on your team, and he's showing that this roster, with a talented enough IGL, can absolutely do a lot of damage if they have their strategies down. That was definitely their main flaw. last year in the VCT. They didn't really have a star IGL. And if John QT can continue this very solid performance, they're going to be in really good hands going forward. His team has a lot of talent on it. It has some experience as a couple players that are world champions. This team can definitely go far, but you really need a very talented IGL to put all the pieces together. It seems like John QT has been a success so far. We'll see how it goes in the future. Then we go to Sasi. He had 167 kills, 154 deaths, 88 assists for a KD ratio of 0.18, and he was playing Sky, Sova, and Fade. Sasi seems to be comfortable in his role right now. He had a rough season last year, but he's showing that he definitely can get back to where he was when he was on Loud, and I think he's very capable of it, and I think that's the reason why Sentinels decided to hold on to him and Panata. Speaking of Panata, he did not play. Now, this is definitely going to be an ongoing story throughout the year. What happens to Panata? Do Sentinels look to make a move? Because at this point, as I said earlier, it seems like Zelsis kind of has that roster spot locked, even if you can make an argument for Panata being the better player, which you definitely can. Zelsis seems like he's fitting into that roster chemistry-wise much better than Panata has so far. So do you move on from him? Do you keep him as your extra guy? I think he's too good to be an extra, but so is Zelsis. And Zelsis brings not only skill, but also really good vibes. He's a really good personality guy to have, so that's probably more valuable than what Panata can bring, where he hasn't really seemed to fit in with the team as much as Zelsis. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they make a move with him. Maybe they keep him. He is a very good extra guy to have, but again, I think he's too good to be an extra guy. So do you maybe, make a trade? I know trades are very rare in esports, but they do happen every now and then. Could there be some kind of beneficial transfer with some Brazilian team where you maybe give Panata to say Furia, maybe get a player back that is maybe better suited for that extra guy role, and then maybe tossing some money on Furia's side or whatever. I'm not saying that I think that's going to happen. I highly doubt they let go of Panata. It seems like they're just going to have him as the extra, but I do feel bad for him, and I think him getting out of that situation is beneficial, and maybe get someone who's a bit more comfortable and a bit more happy in that extra guy role. Talking briefly about some of the maps they played Split 3 times and they won. They were undefeated on it, and they were 2-1 on Sunset. They only lost on Sunset to Paper Rex, and then they were able to win on Sunset the next 2 times they played them, which included a rematch on that map against Paper Rex. They won that one. So Sunset continues to be a very good map for this team, and hopefully this means that this team has a lot deeper of a map pool. It seems like they have better strategies and they know what to do better. Maybe Sunset can be a map that they can just dominate on. So far they have. They did lose in this tournament, but they were able to get it back later on. So we'll see how that goes, but it's integral to this team's success them to have a very strong map pool going into the VCT season. So again, this is a very impressive win from Sentinels. I'm very happy for these players. They've been looking for a win for a while now, and it definitely seems like this team is a lot better than it was last year. Does it stay that way though? Again, this is an off-season tournament. There are some very talented teams here, but are they taking it as seriously? Are they facing maybe competition that isn't as up to par as they would face in the VCT? We'll see. I do think when looking at the North American teams, there's a lot of question marks with the North American teams right now. I think there are some really strong teams in the Americas that they're going to have to overcome, such as Leviathan. I think they're going to be way better. I think Loud's going to stay very good, even though they lost Aspas. Furia should improve. Cloud9, big question mark. 100 Thieves, they don't have a full roster yet, neither does Energy, so I don't even know where they would place over Sentinels, if at all. Evil Geniuses might just not exist anymore. They might sell their roster spot to FlyQuest. So Crew should be better too. There are a lot of teams with a lot of question marks in the Americas, but Sentinels seems like they're again warmed up for the season. They're locked in, they have a mission, and they're really going to try to get it. I do see good things in this team so far, and I'm glad that they didn't just do a full rebuild and tear everything apart like most esports teams would do after the season that they just had. They decided to invest in what they had and maybe make a couple more additions to improve what's already there. A new IGL and John QT was a very good addition. Zelsis, great depth guy, great teammate, fantastic choice to bring him back. But now there's still questions with Panata, and is this something right now that is sustainable? When inevitably the meta changes, can they adapt to that? I think it's possible, but we will see. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Click like if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment as to what you guys think is going to happen to Sentinels in the upcoming season. Are they going to keep the good times rolling, or is it all going to fall apart again? Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.